Welcome to the Friends of Fantasy Benefits Baseball Podcast. I'm Justin Mason, lead fantasy.
Justin, you're on mute, buddy. Nope, now you're off mute.
All right, there we go. Welcome to the Friends of Fantasy Benefits Podcast. I'm Justin Mason, lead fantasy writer and analyst at friendsoffantasybenefits.com. Joining me on this episode is Dave McDonald. How you doing, my friend?
I'm good. We're just trying to get our shit together here after Potapalooza.
I tried to move my mic closer to me and apparently unplugged my mic, so that was an issue. So I'm pretty damn well burnt from from Potapalooza. Great event.
Yes.
Raised almost $8,000 between Potapalooza, TGFBI, and TGFBI participant or satellite participants over the weekend. So it was pretty amazing.
That's awesome.
It was. A lot of work goes into it. It's a long 2 days. Shout out to my wife who supports me and lets me do that. But it was. I'm pretty burnt, and I'm about to head out on a quote unquote vacation to Tout Wars in New York here in a few days. So, but I figured we missed the last 2 weeks, so I was so busy with stuff. We needed to get back on the horse. We need to talk about BARF. We need to talk about GLARF. And then we had two main event drafts go off. And thanks to our good friend, the War Dog, we got full boards to talk about from that. So, like it or not, they're out there.
Yep.
And we're going to discuss them and kind of what our kind of takeaways are, because you've got a main event coming up here in a few weeks. I've got a main event coming up here in a few weeks. And I'm sure lots of other people have got either main event drafts or just their home league drafts that are coming up. And I think there's a lot to kind of take away from these early drafts. So we're skipping the news. We'll discuss some of the news kind of in the context of these drafts, because a lot of people in early drafts like BARF and GLARF lost Garrett Cole. They drafted George Kirby or Grayson Rodriguez, and that's going to affect the build that they had. And we'll discuss that. But let's jump in. And do you want to start with GLARF? Or do you want to start with BARF?
It's up to you, man. Doesn't matter to me.
Why don't we start with BARF? We were going to do the whole guessing game, and we both looked at each other's boards without names, and very quickly, at least you have for sure nailed which team is mine.
Yes. And you think you know which one mine is.
I'm pretty sure I know which one is yours. So we'll start with BARF. Okay. I was team 8, as you already know. And I will share the board real quick for anybody who might be watching.
If anybody's curious on how to pick out the Justin Mason team, just look for Colt Keith. It's 99% of the time that's Justin.
Yeah, it's pretty rare I don't end up with Colt Keith. So
actually, just sort stats by zone contact, and just all guys who are at the top.
You're going to find a lot. You are definitely going to find a lot of those guys on a Justin Mason team. So we'll talk about my team first, and then we can kind of talk about if there's any other teams that stand out to you as interesting, because there's definitely some really interesting builds in the BARF League that I think we should discuss. Some that I love, some that I don't love. I started off this draft at pick 8. It was, I think, my second choice. I set my KDS for 1 and then 8. I wanted to be in the middle. I hadn't been in the middle of any drafts. I either drafted towards the front or towards the back. I started off Juan Soto, then went Trey Turner, Matt Olson, Emmanuel Clase in the 4th, Pablo Lopez in the 5th, Bailey Ober in the 6th, Schwarber in the 7th, and then Royce Lewis in the 8th. What did you think of my start?
Yeah, I mean, the challenge with Soto is just making sure, I love the combo guys, the guys who get you home runs and steals, because then I don't have to feel like I don't have to go for any big power, shitty average guys, or big steals, but no power guys. But, doing it Soto gives you such a nice average base that I can get there. You took Turner in the second round, so you're getting yourself some steals. Granted, you took him ahead of Jackson Merrill, which I wouldn't do, but I mean, you're getting a shortstop, which is nice. And
that was part of the plan. Was hey, I didn't think Turner would necessarily even be there, and I probably would have taken Merrill had he fallen to me. But getting that shortstop is definitely something I want to do.
It's hard to start, like part of the problem is that there's so many outfielders I like in the first 4 rounds, and you can't keep taking fucking outfielders. Like you need other positions. So I get it. And I know how high you are on Turner, and I like Turner as a second round pick. Like I think he's very, very solid. Like he doesn't have, his upside isn't huge, but that you're getting bankable stats, someone who's reliable. So we talked about how you just missed out on Machado in the 3rd round. I would have loved that. But first base is, I've learned, so difficult this year. Like it really falls off a cliff, and people really start pushing up some of the later options. So I kind of understand why you go Matt Olson there. I'm not a Matt Olson guy. Like I like him fine. Like he should give you great homers and RBI. Just those power only guys, I just don't love those that early.
And I really didn't want Olson there, but I figured with Turner taking a guy like Seager or CJ Abrams didn't make a lot of sense to, double up on shortstop that early. I really wanted Machado, obviously, and I did not get him at all because he goes 1 pick before me. I would have loved Burns or Kirby or Reagans. I'm glad I didn't get Kirby now.
Yeah.
But at the time, I was really hoping one of those pitchers might fall to me.
Yeah.
And I wasn't willing to push up kind of some of the other pitchers in, Snell or Sale or Cease. And so I kind of reluctantly picked Olson. I honestly almost just picked Clase right there. And so I felt like it was kind of a coup to get him in the 4th round.
Yeah, and this is not something you're going to be able to do in the main. Seeing the top closers go off the board in the 4th round is crazy. Like it did not go down that way in GLARF, but that's nice to get Clase. I mean, granted, I do have some concern with Clase. His velo is still down right now, but it's been pointed out to me that last year in March in spring training, his velo was down also, but it is down a mile an hour from where it was last spring even. So I don't know. As a Guardians fan, I'm hoping he's okay, but he really struggled at the end of September and then in the playoffs with his velocity and his stuff. And it looks like he just hasn't really recovered yet. So I'm hoping he does, but assuming he's okay, I love getting like a top tier closer in the 4th round.
Yeah. And then, I really wanted Schwellenbach in the 6th. I didn't get him. My consolation prize was Bailey Ober. I had gotten Pablo Lopez in the 5th. Felt really good about the start of that rotation.
I love both Pablo Lopez and Bailey Ober. I'd probably have Ober ahead of Lopez, but the fact that you can get both, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So King was off the board when you took him. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I might have. I mean, I don't know what I would have done, but I like both Lopez and Ober. I know you missed out on Schwellenbach, but I like Ober slightly more even. So I really like that start. And then you added even more power with Kyle Schwarber there, and Royce Lewis. After that, obviously the thing with him is just staying healthy. Yeah. Real Muto getting a catcher, and then going to Stephen Kwan for a little bit of more average boost there. So, and you're going to get some steals from him too. That the only thing is, like, at this point, you're a little low on steals, I would say, but everything else offensively looks pretty good.
Yeah. Love the Christopher Sanchez pick in the 11th.
Oh, yeah.
And that feels even better now after the spring that he's had, and seeing him shoot up on draft boards right now. I think Zach Eflin is an underrated guy. I did need stolen bases at this time, and so I did go Michael Garcia, who's 2nd and 3rd base eligible. Love those multi-positional eligible guys. Another high zone contact guy too. So you know how much I love that. I think my kind of first regret pick is Jose Barrios. I just don't know that I really needed that right there, and I felt like there were other guys I could have gone to. I had really wanted Kerry Carpenter there. He didn't fall. And so I kind of just went with Barrios just kind of for innings. Like he's just kind of an innings dude. But I don't feel like it was really a great pick there.
Yeah, I probably would have gone with like Taj Bradley or maybe even Mackenzie Gore for the upside. I know Eric Getty went the pick before that. You said you weren't really looking at him there. I would have been. But yeah, I think because you start a little later on starters, I would have been more looking for some upside guys at that point because you have Ober and Pablo Lopez and Sanchez are all really solid pitchers. I like all of them. I would have been trying to find a potential ace here, though, like a guy like Arrighetti or maybe Taj Bradley, someone who has that upside. That's the thing that I would have gone with instead of Barrios. The other thing is just like I don't this type of build, and I'm wondering if Soto is kind of the catalyst for it, but I just don't like that it's like all power guys and speed guys because like then you end up with guys like Jacob Young and Michael Garcia, who I don't really like because they're not giving you anything in the power department, and I don't think that they're good hitters. So I don't trust them holding on to the job full time. It's part of the issue. I really like those combo guys, and I don't like you didn't really target any of the combo guys, which is kind of surprising.
Yeah, it's usually kind of my approach is to be more balanced across board because you don't want to lose. Like right now, I am very dependent on a guy like Jacob Young, or in order to get those stolen bases, or a guy like Michael Garcia to get those stolen bases. I disagree that they're not good hitters. I think they are good hitters, but like an injury, or just loss of playing time for some reason, like could put me in kind of a bind.
Yeah,
I did eventually get enough stolen bases, but I'm definitely in a position now where like I'm in a little bit of trouble. I think if something goes wrong, which something always goes wrong. So, but at the same time, I feel like stolen bases are something you can find off of the wire. So I'm not as worried about that. And I really wanted a strong power base with a strong average base. And I feel like I did a pretty good job of building that.
Yeah, for sure. Your first 10 picks or whatever through Quan, you got a nice power speed base, which I like. In the last 2 years since the rule changes, stolen bases simply aren't worth what they used to be worth. There are a lot more stolen bases to be had out there, so it's not as much of a priority. It's why Ellie's not my fourth player off my board. Like there's other guys out whose skills I value above his. So as we go down the board here, you got your boy Colt Keith. I know you splooged your pants over that one.
I absolutely did. And my boy Jeffrey Springs, who I'm a big fan of as well.
Yeah, obviously, Jeffrey Springs, you can't really pencil in for more than like 100 innings. Who knows what he's going to give you? But the talent is there when he's pitching for. I like that you took an upside shot there. And even though he's not really an upside guy, I love Cody Bradford. So I love that you got him as late as you did. Like he's such an underrated player.
Yeah, I think one of my other mistakes was during that Quan pick, I was kind of torn between Quan and David Bednar, but I really felt like I wanted Quan's average and speed. I wish I hadn't done that. I wish I'd taken Bednar or another closer of some sort right there, because I'm getting kind of stuck here a little bit later on where the second tier or the kind of the RP2s went really, really fast. And all of a sudden I was like, okay, well, it's pretty much just like pick a bullpen and try to throw multiple darts at it. I chose the Boston bullpen, Liam Hendricks and Aroldis Chapman in rounds 18 and 20. Hendricks does not look good in spring, which is now scaring me a little bit.
What's ironic here is everyone's taking Hendricks, and to me, I've been saying it's Aroldis. It's been Aroldis. It's going to be Aroldis. It was never going to be Hendricks. Like, there's no way a guy's going to come from taking multiple years off. I don't care that he was a closer in the past. Like, he hasn't pitched since what year? I mean, like, what are we doing here? It's going to be Aroldis. Like, this guy, I don't care that he's walking people in spring training. Like, whatever. He's going to be fine. They paid him. I think he's going to close. And I can't believe you were able to get him after Hendricks, but I'm looking at other drafts and other people are taking Hendricks ahead of Aroldis. I'm like, what are you guys doing? This is silly. Like, it's Aroldis. It's always been Aroldis, but now Hendricks is getting lit up like a Christmas tree. So there's no chance it's him. Like, it is not going to be Hendricks. But I think you got your closer too. I think you got him in Aroldis.
I hope I do. I'm just my fear is they put in someone like Justin
They're not
Slayton
gonna
or,
do it. They're
or
not
Garrett Whitlock. I don't think they will either.
Do
I
you
think
understand how managers think? They're not going to put in some random young dude over a Hall of Fame closer. Like he's got the closer label. They're not going to do that.
Yeah, no, I tend to agree with you, but I still have my fears.
All right, I think you'll be okay. I mean, I think you've got two closers here. Is my point. And then I do like that you took Max Meyer later too, because I like the upside on him.
Yeah, I like him. So full disclosure, I had double booked myself the day of BARF, and I actually had to leave the draft early and draft from my phone. So I didn't feel super great about the end of my draft from about rounds 23 on.
Okay.
I was drafting on my phone as I was driving home from San Francisco. So that is a little bit of the reason why.
Now wait, what did you double book?
So my kid had a fairy princess dance. So and I last year I double booked it on the same day as Potapalooza.
Oh my god. I mean, good thing you're not like the head of Potapalooza and the commissioner of BARF. Otherwise, this would look
it'd be really, really silly if I would do that. But so I ended up taking Brian Hayes in the 23rd round. It is higher than his ADP, but I'm also higher just on him in general than ADP. So I'm okay with that. And I needed a CI at that point, or at least someone who could cover third.
He just got hurt.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I didn't know that at the time.
The funny thing is, it wasn't even a back injury this time. It was, wait, was it? Hold on.
I haven't seen that.
Wait, okay. I'm not seeing, wait, okay. I swear I got a text from my friends talking about Brian Hayes. Hold on. I'm pretty sure.
Some left side tightness.
Yeah. Yep, left side tightness. So sounds like an oblique.
Yeah. Great.
That dude. I mean, I don't blame you. Like his talent is definitely worth a shot where you took him. It's just he's snake bit, man. He's man, cannot stay healthy. I like the Mike Talkman pick in the 29th for what it's worth. Like I think he's gonna play at least.
Yeah, he's gonna play. He's gonna lead off. He's a backup outfielder. So
he might even play every day, which is kind of crazy.
Oh, I think he's going to. I think he's going to lead off every day for the White Sox.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
And the same reason why I took Lamont Wade Jr. Like, I don't think Lamont Wade Jr. is a great player by any stretch of the imagination, but right now he is penciled to lead off, at least on the strong side of platoon in San Francisco. Like, I'll take that, like in the 29th round or 28th round or whatever I got him, 27th round for Lamont Wade Jr. But yeah, I think the only other real mistake I made was I waited a little bit too long on my second catcher. I got to a point where I was kind of thinking like, hey, round 18, 19, something like that. I'm gonna take Ivan Herrera. And then or Hunter Goodman. Herrera ended up going.
Wait, Hunter Goodman. He went undrafted in my draft. He went that early.
He went. Oh, maybe he did go undrafted in this one.
Yeah, Hunter Goodman is not a good pick, dude. He's a backup. I mean, I don't know what you'd be doing with that.
He's gonna be their utility guy in Colorado.
Yeah, I don't know how much he's gonna play though.
I think he's going to play a little bit more than you think.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
He's also having a pretty damn good spring, only striking out at a 10% rate, walking at a 20% rate, hitting 375. Now, obviously, small sample. It's still really early in spring. But if Hunter Goodman is striking out less than 30% of the time, like there's 30+ bombs in that bat. If you can get full-time playing time, that's an if, right? But as a catcher too, you take a gamble, and it looks like Hunter Goodman didn't even go drafted in my league. I
was gonna say, but you didn't take a gamble on him. You took Felix. Yeah, you took Freddie for me, and so
yeah. So
But
I probably should have taken,
you can probably pick him up for $10 in the first.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, Hunter Goodman went in the 21st round. There he goes.
Oh my God, 21st
so
round.
I thought I'd be able to get him later, and I was wrong on that. And so once Goodman went and Patrick Bailey went and Danny Jansen went, I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna wait until the end of the draft. Took Freddie Furman, knowing I'm probably gonna drop him.
Right.
For someone, probably like a Drake Baldwin or if Augustin Ramirez.
Well, but that's the thing. Why wouldn't you take those guys? And then if they get the job, you've got a nice,
Well, at that point, I didn't think that Drake Baldwin was actually going to get the job because they had Sean Murphy, but now that Sean Murphy's out.
Well, but what about Augustin Ramirez? Because he had a chance.
And that was my mistake. I think I should have taken Augustin Ramirez there. And
at the end of the draft, you should be taking the guys that they might not be favored for the job, but if they get it, they could be a big time. Because if those guys get the job, they're the kind of guys who are going to go for like $70-$80 in fab. You know what I mean?
And I don't want to spend that. Yeah. Absolutely.
Right. So that's why you take them instead of Freddie Fermin, who you can pick up for like $2 at most.
Yeah. So that was definitely one of my mistakes. Overall, I really like the team. I definitely think there are some things that are going to need to be worked on during fab, but at least so far I haven't. Outside of Brian Hayes, hasn't really lost anybody.
I just don't like the lack of combo guys. Literally, there's really none. I don't like that approach. I don't like taking, but if it can work out. It's just like you said, it's more complicated because when guys get hurt, then you need something specific. Whereas when you have the combo guys as your base, there's nothing that you're going to need if one guy goes down. It's kind of just. I like the Sean and Roman Anthony for upside. I don't think he's going to make the team, but
I don't think he is either. But
I like though, because if he does, that could be huge.
And it's my only real stash. I don't have, I didn't draft.
You are planning to hold him even if he doesn't make the team.
I'll try to. Especially because I don't have any other injury. Other than Brian Hayes, but I think Brian Hayes becomes droppable if he's not healthy by the start of the season. And I don't have any other real stashes. Like anybody else that would quote unquote be a stash is actually probably a drop for me.
Okay. Let's talk about a couple other teams. So I haven't looked at a ton, but I looked at team 1 and wow, it's really good.
Oh, you like it? Okay.
You don't?
I don't dislike it. I thought Steven Leandres,
Otani, Cattell, Michael Harris, Christian Walker, Hap. Meadows, obviously he's hurt now, but I'm assuming he wasn't hurt at the time. And then you got Framber, you got Bryce Miller, you got Zach Gallen, Gaussman, Gore. You got Helsley as your closer 1. It doesn't look like they got a closer 2, unfortunately. That's the one downside, but everything else, I really, really like, at least the first half of it. I don't love what they did in the second half of the draft, but first half of the draft, phenomenal.
Yeah, I think first half of the draft, I have some guys that I don't really like out of that grouping.
But you're wrong about Harris, so let's just get over that one right now.
I'm not a Michael Harris guy, but I actually like the combo of Framber, Bryce Miller, and Zach Gallen. I think it's perfectly boring.
And Gaussman. And
Gaussman.
Yeah.
Adding in Gore and Job for upside later. I love the OR and Kirkring pickup right there. Jorge Lopez.
Jorge Lopez is a good pick because Finnegan's back.
Yeah, but at the time we didn't know Finnegan was back, so
some of us knew that Finnegan was going back though.
Yeah. Zebby Matthews is an interesting gamble, and he looks great in spring.
Oh, yeah, I missed that actually. Yeah, Zebby Matthews, I like that a lot. Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of Victor Scott II or Joenski Noel, but I think they're interesting gambles. I think overall I really like the build. I want to know what you think of Team 6 and Team 14 because these are, and then Team 5 as well. These are teams that did extreme things.
Obviously, I'm not going to love Team 6 because I was way off Devers and Cole, so I'm not going to like that. But
yeah, so Team 6 is Eno Saris.
I will say though, Henderson and Merrill before Henderson got hurt, that was phenomenal. I loved that start.
And Henderson should be ready for the start of the season or shortly after is what they said. So
I don't think Henderson would be a big concern. Yeah.
I loved his start of Henderson and Merrill. And then I was a little bit confused by what Eno did. Now, full disclosure, Eno won this league last year doing something very similar, which was really load up on offense and figure out kind of the pitching later. He called it his Frankenstein team, and it worked. He dominated offense in our league and did just enough in pitching to win. And I think he finished 5th or 6th overall in Earth last year. My concern with it was you're starting off your rotation with Garrett Cole. Your second pitcher is Ryan Pepio, then Luis Heel.
Yeah.
It felt like a lot of risk in the pitching, and he's already feeling it. He's obviously lost Garrett. We now know, obviously he didn't know this at the time, but we now know Garrett Cole is going to be out for the season. Luis Heel is going to miss probably at least 2 months, if not more.
Yeah.
And so now he is in dire straits with this rotation. This is why I don't do stuff like this.
Right. He also, I highly doubt Devers is staying healthy. Steer is injured too.
I didn't see
Bautista's not going to pitch back-to-back days. He's behind. I don't think he's staying healthy. There's a lot of problems, unfortunately. There's some good picks. I like the Reese Olson pick and the Taj Bradley pick later. Like, he's got a good upside there. Tinoco could have a shot at the job. He got him pretty late. I mean, not late for him. Like, you probably could have taken Tinoco in the second last round.
I like the Dustin May gamble.
Dustin May is now the 5th starter. I don't think that's going to last, but he is.
Ranger Suarez is perfectly boring in the 19th. And maybe Casey Mize is now the 5th starter.
He's having a huge spring for what it's worth.
Yeah.
And I talked to Paul during Pradapalooza, and he seemed to think that Mize and Maeda have the leg up over Job, which sucks for Job.
It's crazy, but it won't last. It won't last long.
Right, but it seems likely that that's probably going to be the case.
For sure. So yeah, this is why I don't like builds like this. Is I think you set yourself up to have problems if you have a few injuries, and Eno's already had a few injuries, and the season's still 2+ weeks away.
Here's the question though: on a scale of 1 blunt to full Eno, how high was Eno for the draft?
He wasn't high at all.
Oh, okay.
So surprisingly,
okay.
He was yelling at us to stop taking pictures because that's why because the pictures went really fast, and I think Eno was just caught off guard. It turned into just a running gag. He's like, I don't need pitchers to win this league. So yeah, he's gonna have some work to do. After talking about that team, let's talk real quick about Team 14, which is my friend Howard Bender's team. He did not take a pitcher until the 7th round.
So I think that can be okay, but I don't like how he then approached it at that point. So
I feel like if you're going to do that, you need volume guys.
Well, you need a specific approach. You need volume, but you also need to take some shots on guys who can be a potential ace. And you need healthy guys. Like, you can't fuck around at that point. If you're waiting 7 rounds to take a pitcher, you can't fuck around. And he fucked around. Robert Suarez, we don't know that he's going to hold that job. We don't know that he's going to not be traded. That's his closer. That's his first pitcher. Freddie Peralta is fine, but then he took Brian Wu. We've been over this before. So then he took Jack Flaherty, who is okay, but he really regressed hard in the second half last year.
And a litany of injury history.
Right.
I like the Seth Lugo pick.
Seth Lugo feels early though. Does he go there? That looks so early.
I think he does.
He went within 1 pick of Robbie Ray. That does not seem right.
I will double check.
I would not take Seth Lugo there. I would take Seth Lugo 3 rounds later.
I don't think you're getting Seth Lugo 3 rounds later.
Then I would be okay not getting Seth Lugo. There's no way I'm taking him ahead of Ray or.
He goes pick 184.
So that's round 12 or something?
Yeah, which is where he went.
Okay. That's high. I don't know.
I think he's just perfectly boring. I think he's fine for this build. For me, it's more of a matter of the Wu pick and the Flaherty pick. I think you're picking 2 guys who are
then he's like Jason Foley. Like, I don't think Detroit even has a closer. Like Luis Severino, no. Jose Soriano, he's not healthy. He's not gonna be healthy. Chris Bassett, no. Porter Hodge, he probably doesn't have the job. It's kind of a mess at this point. He's gonna have to dominate offense, and I don't know that he did enough to do that. So he started with Julio, Vlad. I love that start, by the way. Julio Vlad is great.
I like that.
Abrams Alonso is okay, but he's slowly chipping away at the average. Adley and then Luis Robert. I like Robert. I like Adley at that point too. But then like he goes like Sedan Rafaela, Josh Jung, Zach Geloff. Like he's giving away so many.
He gave away a lot of the average, which was one of the things I said to him because him and I were sitting across from each other at the draft table. I was like, I think you're running into average problems.
Correct. He all the goodwill that he built up early on is pretty much gone by that point. So there's too many issues there. Yeah. What team do you look at? Obviously, you probably like your team the best. What team here do you think is the best aside from you? Who's going to give you the most competition?
Leandra's team one, like you mentioned, I do like his team. I really like Richard Sands' team.
Richard's like a sponge, man. That dude is knowledgeable. So which team is his?
Team 7. The one thing I didn't like about it was Glasnow. Taking Glasnow as his SP1, but he followed it up with Logan Webb and Justin Steele, which I did like that. I think Steele is a bit underrated in the market right now. Love the Corbin Carroll, William Contreras, Manny Machado start. Got a early closer, got a second closer in the 10th, and then he adds a lot of like accumulator types, Mason Wynn, Jonathan India, I felt
Ward,
Profar, like even Michael Conforto. I know he's going to be on the strong side of.
I love the Conforto pick. I'm a big fan.
He takes some upside gambles in starting pitching in the second half, and Drew Asmussen.
He got
Grant Holmes.
Grant Holmes might be the key to this team because the problem, like you said, is on the pitching side he's definitely weak. Because he'd be okay if Glasnow stays healthy, but that is not happening. So he's got Webb, he's got Steele, that's good. He got Hader and Bednar. He got 2 good closers. I like that. Eovaldi is a solid guy there. It really, if he could just, like you said, if he could just change that Glasnow pick to like literally anybody around him, if he could have gotten Schwellenbach,
Joe Ryan,
or Bryce
Ryan.
Bryce Miller.
I was just about to say Bryce Miller or Joe Ryan, and I feel a lot better about this team. So, but it definitely was a team that I liked a lot. The other team on the other side of me, Team 9, I liked a lot, in spite of the fact that he took Kyle Tucker. Actually, I really didn't like his start. It was the later picks that I liked. He started off Kyle Tucker, which I think is I'm scared about Tucker this year.
In Wrigley,
in Wrigley, he missed a lot of time with the injury last year. He's going to be seeing a lot of new pitchers he's never seen before in the National League. So Jazz Chisholm, obviously, you and I have both talked about him going too early. I think O'Neal Cruz is going too early. But after that, I felt like he really killed it.
I've never seen a team that I both love and hate as much as I do this team.
Right?
Like, it's kind of crazy because, like you mentioned, Tucker, Jazz, even O'Neal Cruz in the 3rd, that's so early. Edwin Diaz, I don't like him as a top-tier closer. But then I love Butler. I love Schwellenbach. I do not like Green. I do not like Yelich. Langoliers is fine. Jared Jones is I have concerns. But then like Rengifo, not a pick for me. Reynaldo, okay. But then he got Paredes. He got Spencer Arrighetti. Houck. I like Keeper Ruiz. I mean Neto where he got him. I love Fouché where he got him. I love Bubic. Jason Adam he got late. Like there's a lot of things I love here, but there's a lot of things I hate, especially in his early picks.
Yeah. And then Bubba did a nice thing here. I like Paul. I'm not probably taking a starter in the 1st, but Paul Skeens at pick 13. I don't think you can really go wrong, especially when you pair it with Jackson Churio in the second. I feel like, okay, you could just flip those and I would be totally fine with that. So I'm not really going to get upset about that. Dylan Cease feels like a little high for me, but I know a lot of people really high on Cease, including Bubba. Love Devin Williams in the fourth. Seiya Suzuki, Wilson Contreras, Jake Berger, Luis Garcia, Carlos Rodon. I still feel iffy about Jason Dominguez, but Tyler Stevenson, Jeremy Pena, like I really like Bubba's kind of first 12 rounds. And then, takes an upside shot on Lodolo in the 16th. I think Joey Ortiz and Ryan McMahon later in the 19th, 20th are pretty damn good values. Takes a gamble on Bubba Chandler, though I don't think he's making the rotation. Jock Peterson in the 23rd feels nice. Halverson in the 26th feels like an interesting gamble. J.R. Encarnacion is a really good gamble in the 29th. Like, I liked what Bubba did.
I have to choose my words carefully here because in the past, even when I thought I was being complimentary of Bubba, he got upset. So I actually think Bubba is a really good drafter, though. And there are some things that I don't love, but there's a lot of guys here that I really, really like. Like you said, I would not be starting pitcher in the first or second. I don't like Cease in the third. Devin Williams is a guy I'm staying away from for sure.
Why are you staying away from Devin Williams?
The long-term back injury is not something that I feel good about. I don't like him as a top tier closer. Like if he were going in round like 7 or something, okay, but I'm not taking him that high personally. Yeah. But I love like the, Contreras and Berger and Luis Garcia and Carlos Rodon, Tyler Stevenson. I love all that. I'm not a Jordan Romano guy, but it looks like he got him maybe kind of later. Just eyeballing, it looks like he's kind of late. So it could be okay. Kikuchi, I like the skills. I just don't like the organization. Love Lodolo, love Blanco. Like you said, Chandler's probably not making the team, but I'm guessing he probably drafted him to stash him. I don't know, because that's about the time that Skeens went last year. He doesn't have like that kind of upside, so I don't know if Bubba Chandler is really worth stashing, but he should be the first guy up for them. I love Ryan Weathers, love Jock Peterson, love Seth Halverson because I think he probably starts the job. Jordan Beck is an interesting gamble, and I love Encarnacion and more at the end too. So I really like what he did late. And honestly, from Berger on, or Contreras even on, Suzuki, I like fine. It looks a little early to me, but I don't know. I don't know what his ADP is because he's going.
It is maybe a little bit early, but not much.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that, but I mean, he's so solid. Like I'm not going to say it's like a bad pick or anything. And I like Churio and so I think there could be some issues with his pitching, but on hitting he should be pretty good.
Yeah. All right, let's switch over to GLARF and talk about GLARF because that should be fun as well. Let's see. Oh, I now have a bunch of boards to look at. All right, so I will share that one real quick, and sorry, there we go. Boom. All right, so here's the first 15 rounds. I pegged your team really quickly, at least in my mind. You haven't confirmed or denied if it is team 3 or not, but I believe you are team 3.
Okay. Do you want to make that your final guess?
Looking at it,
I told you early on, it's not going to look like a me team.
Oh, okay. It's not going to look like you.
But I will tell you this: there's a reason why you think team 3 is me, and it's because take a guess why.
Well, it's 3 straight hitters that include Michael Harris.
Well, no, but who do you think it is now?
Is it Jake?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I love Jake's team, a lot of it. So he was in position to do things that I simply wasn't, and I love a lot of what he did. You want to talk about Jake's team?
Sure.
Okay.
Jake started off Jose Ramirez, Michael Harris, Ketel Marte, Michael King, Andres Munoz, Shota Imanaga, and then Matt McClain. Those are your top 7.
Yeah.
I absolutely love this start. Like I'm not a fan of Michael Harris.
Yeah, just an immaculate first 6 rounds. Like pretty much, like if you have a main that looks like that, you're just like, oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, I love both of his aces. In spite of the fact he waited till the 5th to get a closer, I really like Andres Munoz
Love
there.
Munoz, yes.
Like I said, I'm not in on Michael Harris. Like I would have rather seen him take. Let's see who's still Machado maybe. Well, I guess he already had Ramirez, so he doesn't need Machado there. I actually don't have a problem with. I mean, like I said, I'm not gonna take Harris there, but
right.
I don't have a problem with it. McGill as his second closer feels pretty nice. Robbie Ray in the 10th feels great. Unfortunately he lost Parker Meadows, but that would have been nice in the 12th had he been healthy.
His big issue is he didn't get a first baseman, and GLARF had a crazy run on corner infield where, like, every single time me and him were both looking to take corner infield, there'd be a huge run on them, and we wouldn't get the guys that we were targeting. Like, he ended up with Luis Ariz and then Nate Lowe after that. He did take Aranda from me in the 21st, which I was pissed about because he told me that he wasn't into Aranda, and I was like, okay, good. I can get Aranda here in the 21st, and then he fucking took him, and I was pissed. So I think he might be okay because Nate Lowe, he's not obviously for starting first baseman, it's shitty, but he should play every day. And I also think there's a chance that Nate Lowe runs a little bit because Jesse Winker.
Yeah, I was just about to say it's like the Nationals let Winker steal 14.
Similar
bases.
Speed score to Nate Lowe, and he stole 14 last year, and I think it would have been closer to 20 had he not gotten traded. So
early in Lowe's career, he stole 8 bases. So
there
Nate is a little speed there.
Nate Lowe's speed score is pretty high for a first baseman. It's like 2.5 to 4.5, somewhere in that range. Like it's about the same as Jesse Winker. So if Winker can run, I don't see why Lowe can't run. But I will say this. Winker attempted 2 steals last spring, and Nate Lowe has not attempted a steal yet this spring. So I would need to see him at least attempt a steal in spring for me to feel like, okay, maybe he's going to run. But regardless, so Jake's team.
I will say it is fairly jarring to see him take only pitchers from round 22 to 29. I'm not saying he did anything wrong necessarily.
Right.
But holy shit, that's a lot of yellow.
Yeah. And it's kind of what we want to be doing this year is attacking, hitting early, and then take like a bunch of shots on guys later because there are going to be like you can find if you just target certain skill sets in starting pitching, you can find potential aces like guys are going to be 2nd, 3rd, 4th rounders next year late, like after round 20. Those are the kind of you're very rarely going to find hitters that go off like that. You can do it. Like last year you had Brent Rooker, who was a guy like that, but much fewer and further between. Like we kind of know who hitters are more than we know who pitchers are because you never know when a pitcher's going to take that next step. But
some good gambles. I don't think DJ Hurst is making the rotation, but a high upside gamble. I don't think Ryan Nelson is making the rotation, but high upside gamble. Jamison Taillon is one of those guys that I feel like people are just kind of overlooking as just a boring volume dude. So I actually really like that pick a lot. Hayden Wesneski is going to probably be he's in the rotation, and he's got some upside there. Quinn Matthews not going to be in the rotation, but I think it is an interesting gamble. I really like Jake's team. I honestly thought it was yours.
And you had every reason to think that. If I were drafting 3rd, it probably would have looked kind of similar to that. I wouldn't be taking Harris in the 3rd or in the 2nd necessarily, but probably the 3rd. Depending on who I took in the 2nd. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot there. You know what? I'm not sure that I wouldn't have doubled up on Machado. I might have gone. I don't know. I don't know what I would have done. I don't know if I get because I understand why he took Ketel Marte because he needed a second baseman and he hates second. We all hate second base, but I didn't love the McLean pick in the 7th, but other than that, everything else I really like. He got O'Hoppe. I love.
Can I guess now your team then?
Yeah, go ahead. Let's hear it.
I'm going to go 15. Lindor, Vlad Guerrero Jr., Yainer Diaz, Cole Reagans, Ozzie Albies.
It's a good guess because I do love the Lindor Vlad start, but no, that's Jenny Butler.
Now, I really like that team as well. I'm a little afraid of Aaron Nola right now, considering how he's kind of looked in spring, but obviously we didn't know that when we were doing these drafts. But I really love the rest of that team. That is, it may be my favorite team.
She's got a
Lindor,
very solid team. She took Yainer Diaz pretty early.
yeah,
round.
a little bit early for me.
I'm not a big Albies guy. Like, I'll take Westberg over Albies.
Yeah,
I love the Ryan Walker pick, though. Dylan Cruz, I like. Bednar as her. She's Jenny. If you've ever played with Jenny, you know she's always taking two solid closers. She does not fuck around with closer. So every Jenny team is always two good closers. She got Jared Jones pretty late. Yeah, Jeremy Pena. She got your boy Kerry Carpenter later. Josh Young, McCarthy, Darvish, Reese Olson. She got pretty late. Conforto, Michael Wacha, Soderstrom, who, by the way, is playing a significant amount of catcher this spring and looks like he's probably going to be the backup there and probably going to get catcher eligibility in the first 2 months. So that's an underrated pick.
He's been a target for me. Unfortunately, I missed out of him.
I did not think of that earlier, but she also got Casey Mize late. So yeah, lots of good picks by Jenny.
Yeah, really, Reese Olson, another Conforto, Michael Wacha, Max Kepler, I think is an interesting gamble there. Casey Mize, I think those are. I really like Jenny's team a lot too. Okay, well, I guess.
Hold on. So Eric Halterman, Glarfer, is in the chat here. So let's take a look at his team. Team 8. What are your thoughts? Okay. Started Ellie De La Cruz, Freddie Freeman, William Contreras. So he said I really like one of these teams. I'm assuming he meant his own team, but you never know with Eric.
Yeah, so and Eric is in my TGFBI league. I actually do like his team. So you said team 8?
Yeah. So similarly to you with Colt Keith, the way to find an Eric Halterman team is just look for whoever has Jack Flaherty, and that's Eric.
Yeah. So Ellie De La Cruz, Freddie Freeman. I love that pairing. If you're gonna take
assuming that Freddie's okay,
I've moved Freddie down my ranks, but at this point, we didn't know that he was going to have issues about back-to-backs and things like that.
We did and we didn't, right? Like, because he hadn't started running yet by the time this draft happened. So I was definitely skeptical.
Yeah.
But he got William Contreras in round 3. He got Chris Sale in round 4. I know you don't like Chris Sale. I love Chris Sale.
I don't dislike Chris Sale. I have him as my number 5 starting pitcher this year.
I almost took Sale in the 3rd round. So, like, to get him in the middle of the 4th, and then he got Butler after that, which I love Butler.
I love that. Yeah, I love that. I was bummed not to get Butler in mine.
Yeah, that's such a great pick. And then Schwarber in the 6th. I see, for me personally, Tanner Scott, I can't rely on him for my closer 1. So, closer Scott, Hunter Green, Jack Flaherty, Tristan Casas, Brandon Stott. Sorry, Eric, I really hate that section of your draft, but I really like what you did in the first 6 rounds.
And like I said, I've got Eric in my TGFBI league, so this definitely seems like an Eric team. Because he also has Tanner Scott and Jack Flaherty.
Yep.
In that league as well. Then let's see, Miguel Garcia. You know I love that. Ivan Herrera. You know I love that.
Justin, what's his zone contact rate?
Miguel Garcia is like a 91% zone contact, dude. Like, he makes a crap ton of contact. Like, I love him.
I know you do.
The back half, I've got some issues with.
Okay.
Kodai Senga.
Yeah.
Carlos Correa. Byron
Buxton. I will say, though, GLARF, maybe because I'm the commissioner, I don't know, but GLARF really, really let the injury guys slide, because I'm pretty sure Senga goes way before that. And you'll see with all the injury guys, they all went late. I mean, it was kind of crazy. So, like Glasnow, Sasaki, all of them went pretty late.
Here's what I'll say about the back half of Eric's draft. I really like Jesus Sanchez this year. I think Sanchez is super underrated. Okay. I really like David Festa, even though I don't think I don't think he's going to make the rotation. I think
It's a good shot to take, though. It's a really good shot to take, though.
It is, and I think he will be in the rotation quickly because at some point they're going to come to the realization that Simeon Woods Richardson should not be a major league pitcher, and that Chris Paddock is done. So I think he will be in that rotation at some point early on. So I think that's one of those guys you can stash. I don't like another pick he makes in the back half of the draft. I honestly cannot stand any other player.
I kind of like McGreevy in the 26th because I think he's going to get that last spot, right? Isn't he?
I don't think he is he?
Oh, I thought he was. I could be wrong.
I mean, I'll take a look and see what Roster Resource says right now, but I think he's heading down to AAA.
Okay, I thought they decided that he was going to go to the bullpen, but maybe not.
Well, he may to start the season because there's so many days off in April that they won't really need a fifth starter. But I think he is the quote unquote guy in that rotation, at least for the start. Now that may change very quickly, and McGreevy could be the first man up. I think the problem you run into with a build like this is you already have Festa. You already got Carter Crawford, who's going to start, the year on the IL. You can't, you already got Kobe Mayo. Like, can you hold on to
guys for sure? Yeah. He's probably going to be active in the first Fab.
Which is fine.
Like all of us, because we're drafting in February.
If my main problem is your back half, then you've had a pretty decent draft because you can drop a lot of these guys if and when they get hurt or sent down or whatever, and then go on. But the top half, I do really like.
Okay.
All right.
I'm going to give you another guess here.
All right. So third time's a charm. I'm I think I got thrown off because I didn't think you would take Emmanuel Clase in the third round. But now I think that the Tatis, Merrill, Clase, Corey Seager, Bailey Ober, Jordan Westberg team is yours.
Third time is indeed the charm, my friend.
Okay. Yeah, it was the Clase threw me off.
Yeah, kind of like what you were saying. A lot of what you were saying, where you kind of got stuck in the third round, not knowing who to take. That was me too. I kind of had planned to take Langford there, but what was going on at the time was he had the oblique, and we weren't, we weren't sure how he could have missed the first 2 or 3 weeks of the season. And I was like, I don't know if I want to do that in the third round. Plus, I already had two outfielders on my team.
Yeah,
and that's kind of what I'm talking about. It's so difficult. As much as I love Tatis and Merrill, they're both outfielders. I really hated. I mean, again, so this is my first draft of the year, right? So although I love my team, I also don't want to build like this again. I don't want two outfielders at the top. And the pitching kept being the best value on the board, where I kept having to take it, but then I didn't like what I had to do after that. So, because I want to be in a position where my late picks are going to be a lot of starting pitching. And the last starting pitcher I took was round 20 with Clay Holmes. So, starting off, here's the thing. I think Tatis is healthy, and I think he has the potential to be the number one overall player. I'm not saying he's going to be, but he has that potential. So I absolutely love Tatis in the back half of the first round. I love Jackson Merrill in at any point in the second round. Third round, Class A. It just felt like because I could get an elite closer that early, I wouldn't have to worry about it later when I like so many of the pitchers that go later. I really kind of wish I had taken Sale there. That's who I was going to take, and then I kind of backed off of that because I didn't want to take a starter in February not knowing if he was going to be healthy coming into spring training. That was my main thought. But then loved getting Seager, Ober, Westberg, Joe Ryan. Logan Webb fell multiple rounds to me. I could not pass him in round 8. People really underrate Logan Webb. I get it. He doesn't strike out a ton of guys. The dude is healthy. He gives you innings, and they're good innings. And I just could not. I mean, at that point, the guys going after him, Hunter Green, Shane McClanahan, Sandy Alcantara, Justin Steele, they're all multiple steps below Webb, in my opinion. And then I'm sure you saw Sasaki and said, "There's no way."
And that was kind of
this.
Yeah, it's the ninth round. It's your fourth starting pitcher.
Yeah.
I'm not in on Sasaki, but where
But
you got him, I think, is a very worthy gamble as your fourth FP. If this was your second starting pitcher,
correct.
then we'd have to be having a different conversation.
Correct.
But
And-
yeah, as your fourth, I have no problem with it. I actually really like your start. You know, I mean, I could definitely quibble with certain things. I don't think that Tatis should be going in the first round.
All right.
But you know, like I'm not going to beat up anybody who does, because like you said, if he does stay healthy, I think he could be a top 3 overall guy. I'm not a big Jordan Westberg guy, so seeing him go in the 6 is a little jarring to me. But I love Bailey Ober as your 1. I love Joe Ryan as your 2. Logan Webb as your 3 is insane.
Yeah.
Sasaki as your 4 is really, really nice. And then you add in Adolis Garcia, Xavier Edwards, Paul Goldschmidt, Tommy Edman. I like all those picks. Like, I really do.
Yeah.
I'm not as big of a fan as Taj Bradley as you are, especially moving out. And I watched him pitch today, and I was not very impressed. Or no, it wasn't today. It was when it was a couple days ago. Arenado, I think, is underrated in the 15th, and now I've got to bring up
and so
second one. Christian Campbell
was a what the fuck pick, because this is at the point where Boston was talking so much about how much they loved Campbell and how, you know, okay, maybe they're going to move Bregman to third and Devers is going to be the DH. I didn't know. I just kept hearing it over and over again, and I'm like, all right. I was kind of frustrated because Mike Carter jumped Jackson Holiday up the board where I would have taken him. But the good thing is Tommy Edman looks like he's going to get second base eligibility pretty early in the season. So I can move Westberg to third and then make Arenado my corner infield and use Edman as my second baseman. But at the time, there was nobody on the board that I really liked, and I just went with Campbell because it felt like an upside play in round 16. Going back, I wish I'd taken Andrew Vaughn. I think he would have been a good solid corner infielder for me. I thought he was going to come back, to be honest with you, but he did not.
I think your back half is pretty good. I like the Jackson Job gamble. You know, we just talked about Aroldis Chapman and the likelihood that he's a closer.
I love the Holmes picks in round 19 and 20. That's probably my favorite part of the draft right there is Holmes.
I think that opens up some really interesting team names. I'm not as big on either Holmes, but I don't mind it. Like it's round 19 and 20. Like,
by the way,
it doesn't work out. It doesn't work out.
By the way, Clay Holmes is going like rounds 10, 13 now. So.
And that's why I mean, like, I think at this point it's like, okay, you got value. I really love the Jock Peterson pick. I know, like he you know, he'll be on a strong side soon, but like
I love Jock Peterson. You know what, too? When you get to that point in the draft, you're only competing against like maybe half of the league because the other half kind of has
utility only guys.
So, like that's why he falls. He's a stud though, and he's hitting in the middle of a really, really good Texas lineup. So that's why I don't really feel the need to take the guys like in rounds 5. Like I love Schwarber and Rooker and Ozuna, and I'm not saying that Jock is them, but like relative value, like round 21 Jock compared to round 4 or 5, those guys, it's hard for me to go that way, you know, just positionally. DeLuca should be starting. I think
DeLuca's a sneaky good player this year.
I think so too.
So I like the fact that you grabbed Gavin Lux.
He fell so far in this draft, and he has second and third base eligibility now.
Especially because Christian Campbell's probably not going to work out, at least making the major league roster. I think that is a really nice backup plan. You know, Miguel Maya, Augustin Ramirez, like fine second, first, second catcher.
I got a closer in round 25.
Yeah, you got a steal in round 25 in Finnegan. Like I actually really like the team.
I love Caleb Durbin. He's going to be a starter. He'll have second and third base eligibility too. Luis Angel Acuna.
I think he's going to be a strong side, right?
Yeah, at least, yeah. Acuna, I keep hearing that they're going to give him a big role. I don't know if that's true or not, but I felt like the upside was worth it in round 26. Augustin Ramirez was kind of like we were talking about before. if he starts the job, he's going to be a big fab pickup. So I would rather take a shot on him, and then if not, I could pick up Hunter Goodman for a couple bucks in the first fab run. Ty France is another guy who I don't think people realize he's going to be playing every day. And I get that a lot of people aren't thrilled about him, but keep in mind, he was in Seattle. We've seen what happens when guys go from Seattle to other parks. I don't think Ty France is as bad as people think. I'm not saying this is going to be some monster, year or anything, but I think it could be very usable. And then Tana, I don't know. I was just looking for someone at that point I was trying to throw.
Yeah, I think you'll end up dropping Tanya. Like I
think so too. I think I probably should have taken Juan Brito, and I kind of screwed it up. But I could have taken another catcher because I was debating taking Drake Baldwin. Actually, this is before the Sean Murphy thing, obviously. But I was actually debating taking Murphy with my last pick, or taking Baldwin with my last pick. So yeah, I don't like how I got there. I don't like the way I built it, but I do like my team a lot.
Yeah. No, I like it too. Like I said, there's always going to be certain quibbles that we have because we have just disagreements on players, but ultimately, I think it's a pretty good build. I think you got everything you needed to out of the draft, and I think it's going to be a fun team to manage.
That it is. I think there's going to be first fab run is going to be such a key for so many of us.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's talk about the main events.
All right.
Now there isn't a quote unquote ADP yet because I think what they need 3 or 5 drafts, something like that they're going to do before. But because we have a good friend, War Dog, we have some boards. He was in the first 2 main events. He has posted the boards with names. So don't get mad at me. I am just reposting, and I don't really care if you get mad at me anyways. Because
I was going to say, don't get mad at you.
I think
you do this too. And
I think it's a stupid argument. Yeah,
it is a stupid argument. I agree.
So this is board 1 from the first main event draft. I would really like to point out a couple things first. First and foremost, no closer goes until the 4th round. That will not continue.
Right.
And then second of all, there was a lot of talk during Potapalooza that Garrett Crochet was going to be a 2nd rounder. And it is clear that by the end of main events, Garrett Crochet will be a 1st rounder.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, he already is because John Fish took him at pick 13 recently. So.
Oh, okay. So there we go.
Yeah,
like we're already there.
He's going to be a 1st rounder. And if we're being honest, I think he should be because I think he's the SP1 out of everybody.
Wow.
Yeah, I think he's better than Scooble and Skeens. I would take him if I was taking a starting pitcher early. It would be Crochet, unless you wanted to try to get multiple guys because you could get Skeens or Scooble and then probably get Crochet after him also. But yeah, I'm not going to be taking any starters in the first 3 rounds. I don't think, but. Though that would be, I would have. They're all hard throwers. Like they all have that risk. I think Crochet is the best talent of the 3.
Okay. I don't know if I agree with that. I don't think I do actually. But that being said, I don't really have a strong argument against it necessarily. I will not be taking Crochet in the 1st round. I do not have Crochet in my top 5 starters. So, but that being said, I think he's kind of in a tier with Sale and DeGrom.
Okay.
So
I think he's way in another realm from DeGrom, but
I don't think that we have talked enough about this offseason about the risk associated with Garrett Crochet. We're talking about a guy who's had an injury-plagued career coming up through the minors, and made a massive jump in innings last year. And so for me, like, that level of risk in a main event, if I'm in a 10 or a 12 team league, I'll do that. Like, I'd be no problem, taking him in the top 15 picks then. Because the replacement value is going to be there on the wire. In a main event, I just can't do it.
Well, and that's why I'm not going to be taking any of these guys. In the first round.
And I know you won't. I know there's going to be a lot of people that will. And
Yeah.
again, one of the reasons why I'm totally fine drafting at the back end of my main event, because there's 3 pitchers going off the board that I'm drafting anyways,
Right.
are going to leave me way better options at the back end of draft.
Yeah, honestly, I want Crochet, Skeens, and Scooble to all be going in the first round because, like you're saying, that means that I'm probably going to, if I'm in the back half, I can get guys like Julio, Vlad, Lindor, Betts pretty easily. Tatis.
Look at this start on the second NFBC draft from Team 13. He starts Tatis Lindor. Isn't that your dream?
Wait, which
in the second NFBC draft?
Yeah,
Team 13 starts Tatis Lindor.
Yeah, that's like a wet dream, man. That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, even Team 15 going Henderson Churio.
Yeah,
like that is that. I mean, I absolutely love the start from Team 15. Henderson Churio, Cole Reagans, Devin Williams in the second. That is. I think he messes it up later, but that first 4 for me is like a masterpiece right there.
Yeah, absolutely. I still can't believe these people are taking Acuna in the second round though. Like, holy crap.
It's insane to me. It is absolutely insane.
And the dude in the second main, the dude who took Acuna also took Devers. And I'm like, oh God, why?
Yeah, I just can't personally. Yes,
it's Jordan Rosenblum.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna say who it was, but yeah, because I love Jordan. I think Jordan's a really, really good analyst. But yeah, to me, I just think that is insanely risky.
Well, you particularly wouldn't like it because the other pick in there is Harris.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I love Jordan. I do not like Jordan's team. Acuna, Harris, Devers. And then Schwarber. Like, even if you get Acuna back, let's say middle of May, I think your average is already fucked by then.
Wait, what is wrong with his average?
Devers, I don't know that I'm going to peg Devers for a great average.
Well, I mean, it's not going to. He's never had a bad average. What are we talking about? And Harris is a really good average, so I don't know.
Well, but the problem with Harris is he doesn't get enough plate appearances to offset a guy like.
Oh my God,
Schwarber's like a 670, 680 plate appearances with a bad average, and Harris is going to be like 490.
The only bad average that I'm seeing is Schwarber in the top. Like, Riley Green's a good average guy.
No, I'm saying none of those guys can volume and offset Schwarber.
Oh, come on. Unless Schwarber hits like 150, he's gonna be okay. And
I like Schwarber, so like I'm just saying, like
I think he's fine in average. I just putting Acuna in the second round, and then I get that it was the fourth round, but still Devers and putting the two of them together.
And then Buxton in the 15th.
Yeah. I don't judge too harshly when it comes to the second half of the draft in terms of like injury risk, because but he's got Verlander there too.
We did get, I believe, in the 10th round in both drafts. Both drafts, George Kirby goes.
I like that.
Yeah, so talk about that, because I think you are often looked at as Dr. Dave, and that you're very averse to drafting guys who are injured. But in the 10th round, that feels like a pretty safe gamble.
Well,
or not safe, but a worthy gamble.
No, I was just yes. What I was going to say was there's people who listen to me who know my actual views on injuries, and then there's just people who hear about it through other people who are exaggerating things. Like you get the people like John Anderson saying things like, "Oh, well, Dave just doesn't think that you should draft any good pitchers because they throw hard." And I'm like, no, it's not that at all. Clearly there's a correlation between the guys who throw 97 plus not being able to stay healthy. But you can get some of them later. Like Taj Bradley's a guy who throws like 97, 96 and a half. You get like round 14. Okay. If he gets hurt, you're not losing your team on it. I don't want to take those high risks early in the draft. I still take risks though, guys. I just take smart ones and I back them up. And my view on injuries is way more nuanced than what most people think it is. So yeah, with Kirby, it's, you know, right shoulder inflammation. It could be anything from 3 or 4 weeks to 2 or 3 months. But when you're talking about pick 10 for I think he's going too high, but maybe like a 4th round talent, even you're getting six rounds on him. I think that's okay. Shoulder probably isn't shutting him down for the season. It's not forearm or elbow. He's not getting a cortisone or PRP injection. Those are the things where they're off my draft board. Kirby, I still think is okay to take round 10.
My projections, when I dropped them earlier today on Kirby, put him at starting pitcher 21, which is well before this spot. Yeah. And he actually goes 10-2 in both drafts.
How much time are you projecting him to miss?
I projected him to miss 3 starts.
Oh, okay. I think he's probably going to miss more than that. I mean, I would say if you plan on drafting him, plan on him missing the first month.
And that's probably fair. Probably
6 starts, something like that, or 7. I don't know.
And I can actually real quickly adjust that. So, like, let's say I say 6 starts. So we're going to drop another 16 innings, which would bring him down to 159. And that would drop him to, let's see. So that was 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. The starting pitcher is 27.
Okay. So, where would that be? I don't know.
Starting pitcher 27 would be approximately, at least on the ADP, would bring them around. I gotta subtract probably like 7 closers. Roki Sasaki, Tanner Bybee, Aaron Nola area.
So 27 would be round 7, according to the first. I just counted them really. So yeah. So basically, you'd have him with like a round 7 value. Yeah. So like I said, round 10, I like. I mean, look at like guys like Alcantara, stuff like that. I think I would take Kirby ahead of him pretty
now,
safe.
I do want to say there are massive differences between these 2 drafts, even though he goes in the exact same spot. He goes 10-2 in both drafts. In the first draft, the guy drafts Bailey Ober is his SP1, Aaron Nola, Freddie Peralta, and then Kirby is his number 4. And then he goes and grabs Kikuchi the next round, okay? So he's SP4, but his next pick is another SP. In the second draft, he goes Snell, Glasnow, Jeff Hoffman, Freddie Peralta, George Kirby. Still his SP4, but 2 massive injury risks, plus an injury risk closer taken ahead. And then his next pick, Jordan Romano, another injury risk closer. Yeah. So like the guy who takes him in at pick 4 or in round 10, pick 14 in the first draft, I actually really like it. I am a little scared of Nola right now, but Nola is your number 2 with Ober as your number 1. Freddie Peralta, like I think those are you're probably getting 150 to 170 innings from all 3 of those guys. And then you add Kirby, and then you add Kikuchi, another guy who's going to throw you another 160, 170 innings.
The problem with the first guy is that he's also stashing Acuna.
Well, yes, I was just talking about straight from the pitching staff.
Right.
The other guy, Blake Snell's an injury risk. Tyler Glasnow's an injury risk. Jeff Hoffman's an injury risk. George Kirby's an injury risk. Jordan Romano's an injury risk. That is 5 of your first 6 pitchers.
Yeah, that's called not balancing your risks very well. That's why I say, I take risks, but I do it smartly, where I'm not taking a bunch of the same risks I'm not taking a bunch of injury risks. I'm not taking a bunch of platoon risks or playing time risks, because when you do that, it's multiplying against itself, where now if what you think could happen does happen, then you're screwed. I don't know what this guy's going to do unless things go exactly his way. which is never the case.
Yeah.
It's going to be really difficult for him at some point, probably pretty soon. And
like if it was Team 6 doing this, Team 6 started off Logan Gilbert, Tanner Bybee, Bryce Miller.
Yeah,
if
that
he
would be
takes
perfect.
him in round 9, like then I'm going, okay, like that is money.
Yeah, that's a monster, team, because he's even got Ray there. That's a really good team, by the way. I really like that.
It is a very good team. So Corbin Carroll, Logan Gilbert, Matt Olson, Edwin Diaz, Junior Caminaro, Tanner Bybee, Bryce Miller, Dylan Cruz, Marcus Simeon, Robbie Ray, Ian Happ, Kyle Finnegan, Tommy Edmond, Jorge Soler, Tiger Ruiz, like that.
Holmes, Will Warren.
Yeah, that is a fantastic team. I don't know who Anderson is, but Team 6, I feel like they actually
I like it. I don't know. Everyone's way more on Caminero than I am, but other than that,
me too. I'm not as high on Caminero. I would not be taking him in the 5th round.
I just don't know what are people expecting from him, because like he doesn't run. He's not going to be a high average guy, so he can give you.
I think he could be a high average guy, but I wouldn't bank on it. I think
like
what
260.
I think what people and I can double check what my projections are on him. I think the issue with Caminaro is people are seeing what he did in the Venezuelan Summer League, or maybe Dominican, one of the Summer Leagues.
By the way, Steve's asking if you can enlarge the board. I don't know if you have the capability to do that.
Give me a second and I will try.
Okay.
Boom. That's not doing much. No, it's enlarging everything around it. Unfortunately, I can't because it's just a picture off of.
Well, if you go back to you did enlarge it, I think initially. Whatever you did the first time, and then you did it 2 more times after, and it went smaller again.
All right, let's see. There, is that better?
Nope. Yep, right there.
Okay.
I think. I don't know. I think that might. Oh, now you're moving it.
Is it back?
I think so. Yeah. I don't know, Steve. Sorry. I think that's the guys. If you guys go to on Twitter, find the War Dog. It's at I am the War Dog. It's all over the place. You'll be able to find the draft boards that we're looking at.
So Caminaro. So I think Caminaro could hit for a good average because he does have a very good hit tool. Will he hit for a good average? I'm not necessarily projecting that. I think what people are living on is they saw that massive home run in I think it was the Dominican Summer League.
Yeah, who cares?
I'm not saying I care. I'm just saying this is what people are saying.
I know
what people are doing.
This is why I tell people every year: fade videos. Do not watch videos. They're going to hype you up for people more than you should.
And then it's the move to Steinbrenner Field. It's he's got all this power.
Yes,
and he's now going to a better park environment.
It is better, but it's much better for lefties, and he's a righty. Okay,
well, it's much better for righties too.
It is.
It's just much. It is it is better for lefties than it is for righties, but it's going to be much better for righties than in prop.
I think your pipe dream is like 30 homers, 275 average. Like that's like your pipe dream. I just like that could be good, but like that's like a pipe dream too. Like it just doesn't excite me as like, oh my god, I have to make sure I get this guy. Like he's not going to give you elite average. I don't think it's going to be elite power. He doesn't run at all. I don't know. He's 21 years old. Like putting that on a 21-year-old, I don't know.
Well, and he's a guy who's had a 50 to 60% ground ball rate all throughout the minor leagues. Right. Now I know that he's got a 19% ground ball rate in spring and a 75% fly ball rate, but that's not good. You don't want a guy with a 75% fly ball rate because what it leads to is what was happening in spring training, which is a 33% infield fly ball rate.
Yeah.
So, like, could he hit 30 home runs with a good average? Devers 22 season 311 with 32 home runs. I mean, could it happen? Absolutely. But like, you're paying for it now.
Yeah.
Like that's my problem is when you were getting him in the 8th, 9th round, like you were like, hey, you're paying for a decent season, but you don't need him to go off.
Right.
You put him in the 5th round, and he's going to be higher as we get farther into the main events.
Yep.
Like he will be a third rounder in the late main events. That's a no for me.
You know
the
what?
Same thing with Wyatt Langford in the second round. Like, I love Wyatt Langford. But he goes in the second round of the first draft. He goes on the 2-3 turn of the second draft. That is way too high on him.
But here's the thing. Wyatt Langford has a full season under his belt, and he really started to take off late in the season. And I think he's just a better hitter. And he runs. There's just so many more reasons why Langford I'm fine with that and not with Caminero. Caminero also went in round 4 in both of our drafts, in GLARF and BARF. He went early in round 4 in GLARF. So
I can't do it.
I can't either. I can't get there.
Not when I can get Royce Lewis in the 9th.
I mean, I don't know if that's the example that I want to use, but there's other guys that I like.
But what's the difference? I I understand the health.
I can get Berger later. I can get Bregman later. There's Paredes. You can get much later. Yeah, Eugenio Suarez.
I would much rather have all those guys than Caminero at their price.
I don't feel like you're getting anything with Caminero unless like Eric said with Devers, but I think Devers had a different skill set. Like, I'm pretty sure Devers didn't strike out as much as Caminero. I don't see a 300 average in Caminero's skill set right now, whereas Devers, I think, did have that ability.
I think one day there will be. I think one day we will be drafting Caminero in the first round, but not this year. I'm agreeing with you. Like, I have zero issues. Anything else stand out to you?
Well, yeah, let's not focus on teams. Let's focus on like what players are going insanely early or insanely late that we didn't see coming, because like there's a lot. I mean, Jazz Chisholm went pick 16. Like, holy shit. This is full on. I don't give a fuck about injury risk. I get it. He's healthy right now, but this is a guy like Mike Trout who has a series of lower body injuries like every year, and except for last year. And that's the thing. You can't say just because a guy stayed healthy one year that, okay, now is the time to pounce when he's at his all-time highest value. Like, that's not what you do. You buy low and sell high. So if you want to take that risk and hope he stays healthy again, then fine. I'm not going to be that guy, though.
I'm not either.
Crochet, early second round. We kind of already touched on that.
I've got one.
Okay.
O'Neal Cruz went in the second round.
Yeah.
And he in the other draft, he goes in. I don't even see where he is. Where is he? How am I missing him in the? I guess
he's going late second in the other one too.
Did he go late second in the other one too? Oh, he does. Okay,
different color.
Yeah, he's green in one and blue in the other. Okay, so that's what I was tripping on. What the hell? What the hell? Like, what has O'Neal Cruz done to go in the second round?
21.
I love it because I don't think he is a top 5 round guy.
Well, he really took off in the second half. His splits versus lefties were no longer there. He hit lefties well. He has easy 30-30 potential. But he's not going to help you in average. He's probably going to be a 250. He hit 260 last year though, and I think he actually hit pretty. I don't remember what his second half average was, but I'm pretty sure it was pretty good.
I'll tell you in a second.
It was 277. Yeah. His power went down though, so that's the thing. Was it a trade off? Like, did he trade off?
It was a 367 BABIP, a 27% strikeout rate. I know you don't like zone contact, but it was a 77% zone contact, which is almost 10% below league average. So his swing strike rate of 16%.
His career BABIP is 336, so you can probably safely say that he was outperforming his average there. So I think if we say he's a 260 hitter, or even 255, somewhere in that range, that's fine. If he goes 30-30, I don't think you're going to argue with that. Like, he has the right skill set to be going at that time, but it's just the contact issues that I don't love. Yeah. And if he regresses at all against lefties, they could sit him versus some lefties, and that's the thing, because they did do that at times where if he you don't want to be thinking about that with your second round pick. Like, oh, is my second round pick going to play every day? That shouldn't be a thing you're thinking about.
I mean, hot take, but my projections don't have him as a top 100 player.
Yeah. Eric mentioned, because we kind of talked about in the third round how there was not a whole lot that we loved there. There is a bit of a dead zone there in the late second through like part of the third round too. It's just there's not a ton that gets me excited. But having said that, there's a number of guys that I would have taken over.
Give me Corey Seager, give me Manny Machado, give me
Ketel Marte, Michael Harris,
Austin Riley. Like, I mean, like if you're gonna do that, like just push up Lawrence Butler, push up. Like, I'm sorry, like to me, like there's no rationale where he should be going in the second round. Like
I understand the rationale. It's not there for me. I'm not going to do it.
It's bad rationale.
You mentioned Langford in the second round. That's too high for me. I'm not taking him in the second round. I would consider him in the third though, like late third. I would consider Langford when all my other targets are off the board. But yeah, second round is still way too high. Like that's
I'm taking Langford and I'm taking Doyle over. I'm taking Butler and Langford over Doyle.
Okay.
Butler and Doyle over Langford.
You did it again. All right, did you mean to say Doyle?
Yeah, I'm taking Butler and Doyle over Langford.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah,
it's interesting. Doyle over Langford.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I mean, I have them all very closely ranked.
Okay. I would definitely take Langford over Doyle. I get it on Butler, though.
I mean, Doyle plays in Colorado. He's an amazing defender, so he's never losing time out there.
I mean, Langford's not missing.
He's got power and speed. Like
all Langford, not missing time, power and speed. Yep.
I mean, I think Doyle showed more power and more speed than Langford has, at least at the major league level.
Okay. I hear you.
I mean, I'm not taking Doyle there either.
Right.
But I'm saying I would take both of those guys over Langford as we speak right now. But for me, like I can't imagine passing up on at least even the pitchers like Logan Gilbert, Zach Wheeler, Corbin Burns, Sale, DeGrom.
Well, Gilbert and Wheeler were off the board when he got picked, but yeah.
Oh, I'm looking at the one where Langford went ahead of those guys.
Oh, okay.
So, but I mean, a closer, Machado, Riley, like there's so many guys.
Those guys were off the board in both mains before Cruz.
Oh no, sorry, I'm talking about Langford.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not arguing Langford in the second round. I'm not doing that either.
Yeah. That seems insane to me.
I'm also not doing William Contreras in the second, but that seems to be an agreed upon thing by most people in the community for some reason. So I'm not, catcher in the second round. I'm going to pass. DeGrom going early third. How long before DeGrom is into at least the middle of the second? If DeGrom makes it through the spring training healthy,
he's a second rounder
as well as he is there a chance that he even makes it to the back half of the first round?
Oh no, I don't think he necessarily cracks. I think he might crack into the first round in a few leagues. But
like, do you think people are still going to take Wheeler and Gilbert over DeGrom?
No, I think he moves ahead of those guys.
Okay,
and I think that's a mistake.
Oh, huge. We're gonna let it happen though. We're gonna let him do it.
Yeah, and again, like this is one of those reasons why, I love those helium guys because I'm not taking them where they're going anyway. So I feel like this is one of the pitfalls of the main event is there are going to be helium guys that people just throw value out. And Steven right here saying like Austin Riley at 39 is sweet. Like I love Austin Riley at 39. Like that.
I'd much rather have Machado at 38, but I'm fine with Riley.
Yeah, no, I'll take either of them. If I'm not starting with Jose Ramirez in the first round, I want one of those guys in the third. So,
I agree.
When you start seeing these crazy push-ups that people are doing, what they're doing is they're giving back all this value in the upside. And they're allowing other people to get value later. These guys aren't the ones who win main events. Like it's the boring teams that win main events.
Let's be clear here. By value, we're not talking about ADP. Like that's perceived value. That's not. We're saying that we don't think that they should be there at all, even if ADP says they should be.
Yeah. All right. Anything else you that you can?
I want to look real quick just see if anything else stood out to me in terms of guys going kind of crazy early or crazy late here. Did you see anybody falling more than you thought they would? I haven't like compared this to ADP. I'm just eyeballing here, but
I'm just eyeballing as well.
Nothing jumped out at me as like kind of. You know what is kind of crazy to me is Bryce Miller going in the middle of the 7th. That is so late for him.
Yeah, that. But again, he's one of those boring guys, right? Like is
he though? I mean, he's.
I don't think he is. But.
I'm not bored by Bryce Miller in the slightest. Like, I think he should be going up before. I mean, I don't know. I would probably take him ahead of Bybee, I think, and I would definitely take him ahead of Joe Ryan and Logan Webb and Imanaga is like they're all kind of in that range, but. I would probably be taking Bryce Miller once Schwellenbach went off the board, and I would take all of those guys over Nola, even before the spring training struggles. I would definitely take him ahead of Glasnow. Like that's such a nice pick to get him in the middle of the 7th. That's crazy.
I have Bryce Miller as my 14th or 15th starting pitcher. So yeah, I think that is a fantastic value.
Also, Hunter Brown in the 8th feels pretty late too.
I think that's about right, at least for me.
I don't think so. Is it?
I mean, I can look at his ADP from Draft Champions and let
you know. I guess it's slightly after his ADP. I guess I thought it was more. It was. Okay.
No, I think that seems about right.
But how about Christopher Sanchez in the 8th? That is a big
game. And I love Christopher Sanchez. That's going to be one of those that I'm glad I got early shares of because I'm not going to get him in the main. Like I just won't be able to push him up that high.
Well, that's Dom Rello. He kind of does shit like that. So I mean, he took Pete Crow Armstrong in the 7th too. So
I mean, I'm totally all for accumulator types going earlier than they do. But Mason Wynn in the 9th seems weird. Yeah.
I don't love Tovar and Adames, but I couldn't do that.
Yeah, well, and like when you get like, what's the difference between Mason Wynn and Jeremy Pena or Dansby Swanson, despite the fact that they're on better teams?
Well, probably contact and the fact that he says he's going to steal 40 bases is probably in people's minds. Obviously, Swanson and Payne are not.
I'm going to steal 40 bases too. You taking me in the 9th round?
No. Yeah. Obviously, it only matters if he has a plan in place to actually do that. But
here's another one for you. Mike Trout goes in the 6th round of one and 8th round of the other.
What was that?
Mike Trout goes in the 6th round of one draft and the 8th round of another.
Yeah, and I knew that Mike Trout, because everyone was like, oh, he's such a steal for going in the 10th round. I kept telling people, yes, but there's no chance he goes that late in the mains. He's going to jump up, and people are going to pimp that pick. We're going to be in late April, early May, before Trout finally goes on the IL, and people are going to say, imagine not drafting Mike Trout in round, whatever they got him in 6, 7, and he's going to get hurt right after that. So enjoy it. I have no interest in the 6th round, 7th round, any of those rounds. I do understand the appeal of Mike Trout when you get to like round 10 and on. Like I do. He's a great player, but I think people also have forgotten that he has a rare back condition that is not going away. So it's not just that he's had a bunch of injuries. Like he's never going to be healthy again in his career. So just keep that in mind.
Other than that, I don't really see anything that is super shocking. I mean, some guys just falling a few rounds that I go, oh, that seems like a pretty good value, but nothing that stands out to me as like completely insane.
Steve's asking where I would take Strider. Where did Strider go here?
Strider.
Why am I not seeing? Did he go
Um,
later than I'm thinking he went?
No, I'm sure he went.
Yeah, I'm sure not. This is not the place where he's going to go. Oh, there he is. Middle of the 7th. Like, Strider went before Bryce Miller. That's
That's
embarrassing.
insane.
No.
I'm gonna check the other one too. Yeah, same thing.
So Steve, Strider is only going to be a year out in mid-April from his second elbow surgery. The returns on guys coming off of the internal brace, especially the second time, it's not good. It's like epically bad.
It's not that there isn't enough data. Like that's
data. There's a lot of data out there. You just have to look.
No, there isn't. There's only.
I have the data. I've looked at it. There's enough. There's plenty. I'll show you.
There's only been like 20 guys. That's not enough.
Okay, I'll show you later. But anyways, even if you want to say there's not enough data, there's no positive data. That's the problem. There's nothing.
That I agree with.
What?
That I agree with. That there's no.
So even if you want to say it's a small sample, okay. So what's the argument that he's quote built different? I'm not doing it. I'm not doing the built different argument because I hear that shit all the time.
I'm also not taking Sandy Alcantara in the ninth.
Well, like at least that kind of makes sense because like he's like what going to be 18 months out or 17? I don't know, something like that.
These guys still struggle with command and control, and Sandy Alcantara is built on command and control.
Correct. And he doesn't strike out enough guys, and that's why.
He plays on the Marlins.
Yes, that's why I'm not interested in him. But I'm just saying, at least health wise, he's in a completely different place compared to Strider. But Strider, I would be shocked if he gave you 100 innings, and I don't think they're going to look anything close to prime Strider. So where would I take him? I probably just wouldn't take him. I don't know. If I took Strider, it would like seriously have to be after round 10 for sure. So I don't know how far after round 10, but
I'll tell you where I would take him because I'm looking at the other names in the rounds. Yeah. I think I'd take him 12th round, but he'll never get there.
Kind of close to where I was looking. Yeah. Honestly, I would take Arrighetti over him though, and he goes after.
I would probably take Arrighetti. I would probably take Eflin.
I have no interest in Strider. I'm simply not going to get Strider. That's the bottom line, and I don't want Strider. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and I won't live or die on being right or wrong on Strider. So like my process.
In a 10 or a 12, I can understand it, right?
Nah, I'm not doing it there. I just don't think the upside.
No, because in most of those formats, you're going to have an IL spot. You're going to have replacement value off the waiver wire.
I would use it for someone else, though. I would use it.
I would too, but I'm saying like I don't have a problem with it. I'm not going to do it myself. I've done a 12-team draft recently or an auction with unlimited IL, and I still didn't bid on Strider.
Yeah. But the other thing is everybody. You're going to have guys that have to go on the IL too. It's not just going to be the guys you draft.
I agree.
7 IL guys fill up all your slots, and then your team's just going to be healthy otherwise. Like, no.
I absolutely agree with you, but I think the argument, and like one of the arguments I ran into during Potapalooza, not on Strider, but it was more on Alcantara or just these guys in general, was like, like Nick and Paul were like saying, well, you get the guy, but then you also get the replacement value of somebody else. In a 15-team league, I don't want the replacement value.
Right.
Like, I don't want the guy that is going like after, I'm just looking for a random Griffin Canning. Like, I don't want Griffin Canning on my team. Like, I don't want that kind of guy, like, being a part of my rotation for the first month of the season.
Yeah.
So like I get in a 10 or 12, I do get it. I'm not going to do it myself, but I get it. I get why people do it. In a main event, when there's going to be 14 other active owners who are also going to be churning and burning the wire at the same time, like I don't want that as part of my rotation.
See, if I have an IL slot, that's where I would want to like maybe I'll go DeGrom in round 4 or 5, something like that. Or I'll take Brian Wu, who looks phenomenal, but I know he's a ticking time bomb. But those are the kind of guys who I would want to use the IL slot, not on Strider. I'm not expecting to get the results that other people are.
No, I'm with you. All right, that's going to wrap us up for this episode. Dave, remind everybody where you can reach on social media, plug anything you got going on.
Yeah, you can reach me at RunDMCD, add that D on Twitter. And I'm just prepping for my drafts. I have only done GLARF so far, so got to sign up for all my, I don't know what I'm going to do with Fantrax. I don't know if you've heard, but they are not renewing their license in a bunch of states, including Ohio. So, yeah, I don't know. I know you probably don't play Fantrax, but
I know.
Yeah, so good thing we moved Earth, by the way, from Fantrax, because that would have been an issue, I think. So, yeah, they didn't renew their whatever license, gambling license or whatever. So I don't know if I can actually play. I'm going to see if I can have someone sign up from a different state and give me their login. I don't know if that's going to work. But
can you sign up while you're in Vegas?
What was that?
Can you sign up while you're in Vegas?
Well, I have like my one friend who I do this with. Like he's the one who pays my entry fee, and then we split the winnings. He lives in West Virginia, West Virginia, and it is legal there. So I don't know if he can sign me up, and then I can get his login and then do it, or if it's going to know that I'm editing the team from a banned state. I don't know.
Usually, they just run it when you sign up for it, like when you go to pay.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't be an issue because I know people do that for NFBC, where NFBC is banned.
Okay.
But I'm not 100% sure because I've got a Dynasty League on Fantrax, and then I have the Tout Wars is going to be on Fantrax this year. So
okay. Anyways, I need to get all that stuff signed up for. I need to get my Vegas flight. I'm starting to feel the pressure of getting all my research done.
Steven, I am not in the CLQ, and I don't know if I'm going to be in that main or not. That's just the main I signed up for right now. It depends on, I may move it to the weekend. I have to run it by my wife and kind of see what my schedule looks like. But I don't do the CLQ because I don't play in the RotoWire Online Championship, except for occasionally doing like one of those Beat Justin Mason leagues. And I didn't play any DCs this year. I severely cut back my leagues this season, very purposefully, mostly because, one, I just don't have as much time during draft season as I used to, especially with all my travel, and two, because it just became such a slog in the middle of the season trying to set lineups for 17 or 18 teams, and doing fab for that many teams as well. So I'm actually only playing in 5 NFBC leagues as we speak right now.
Yeah, so, and I'm also not playing in the CLQ.
Yeah. All right, you can find me on all social media platforms, Justin Mason FWFB. I'm running at Fangraphs and Fantasy Pros. I'm on this podcast, the Sleeper Bus podcast. That will do it for this episode. For Dave and myself, thank you for listening. Have a fantastic baseball preseason.